Aloha, fellow internet adventurers, and welcome to Ripley's Road Trip. I'm your host, Aaron Sagers, where each episode we're going to check into a new destination and uncover the most believe it or not worthy artifacts at Ripley's attractions. Now, before we get too far in our travels, I'm going to ask you to travel down to the subscribe and like and give us some love. Think of it as like a internet passport stamp that lets us know that you were here. You know, you might not know it, but our founder, Robert Ripley, he was a man of adventure. Before most of the world took to the skies with commercial flight, he was already globetrotting. He was collecting stupendous stories, amazing artifacts, and curious curios. And not only that, he was an explorer, but also a fearless showman. For instance, as I pack up this alligator jawbone dagger, I am reminded of a live radio broadcast. Rip goes to this alligator and snake farm in Silver Springs, Florida, and he sets out to milk the venom of a rattlesnake. He climbs into the pit with 500 of these noisy bad boys, and the lights go out.
Now he's grabbed it, he's brought it up, now he's going to bring it up to the table, up to the dish, where he's going to milk it. This snake is rising, it's very strong, a 7-foot snake is very strong, he's got a bacillion's leaves now.
Snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes? Anywho, in a classic boss move, he finished the broadcast. He climbs out of the pit and he even tells the audience,
"Don't be frightened by that noise you just heard in the background. It's just the bellowing of the alligator. You know, they're all excited around here from this broadcast from their homeland. There's more than 2,000 of them nearby."
With that inspiration, I'm traveling to my homeland, my hometown of Orlando, to the Ripley's Believe It or Not, to explore the significance of the Sunshine State's resident dinosaurs and their connection to the indigenous peoples of Florida. Before we take a bite out of alligator lore at Ripley's Orlando, we need to take a bite out of the City Beautiful. And I literally need to get a bite. Oh, definitely gonna need extra large beef, please.
Okay.
Definitely need the tots. The king was here before the mouse for more than 50 years. And fun Aaron fact, my dad used to work here. So good. So good. With our bellies full, we have arrived at Ripley's Believe It or Not Orlando, where there is the new Weird Florida Gallery. And as a weird Florida man by birth, I am digging the exhibits, like the shrunken head owned by former Key West resident Ernest Hemingway. And those of you who know me know, of course, I'm going to love this Yeti footprint. One of my especially absolutely favorite things here that can only be seen here are the alligator and crocodile items. This fossilized alligator is one of the most complete specimens ever discovered. This little guy slid into a limestone crevice on the bottom of a prehistoric lake and was quickly covered by fine silt and clay. Aw, that's sad, but it ensured its preservation. It was only recovered a few years ago in northern Florida, and it retains the interesting orange-brown color of the ancient clay. And these critters are so cool. These are decorated crocodile skulls from the Yatmal tribe in Papua New Guinea, who live alongside the Sepik River. Now, this top one is a skull that is covered in clay and decorated with cowrie shells. The other one is much larger, obviously, and it is largely painted, but you can see the cowrie shells in its eye sockets. And then there's this guy. Look how ornamented he is. Totally covered in the cowrie shells. And also pretty cute. Hey there, little buddy. What are you doing? To talk more about the significance of these skulls, I brought in my friend and author of Erie, Florida, Chilling Tales from the Panhandle to the Keys, Mark Muncie. Well, we want to talk about these skulls, these croc skulls, and yes. I wanted you to tell me a little bit about what is the significance of these? Why did they decorate them in these ways other than being like really cool art.
It's very common for the native culture to just do all these, to basically respect the wisdom of these giant reptiles, alligators, crocodiles, all these amphibious creatures. They can live on the land, they can live in the water. So they follow them with, they use them for guidance, for wisdom and the hunting skills and regeneration.
These decorations are also connected to a creation belief of sorts, right?
Yes, like the crocodile is the founder of the great creator. In fact, the under is his lower jaw, and then the sky is the upper jaw, and it's and we all live in the mouth of the giant crocodile.
But I want to bring it back to the indigenous peoples of Florida. What kind of relationship did they have with alligators, with these dinosaurs in the waterways that they were living alongside?
Well, again, they were sources of food, they were sources of materials, and anything was a resource to them. And then it also filled many of their stories and their tales. There is a place now known as Devil's Millhopper.
I love it already.
Gotta love anything with the devil in it, right? Is awesome. Now, this is a sinkhole on top of another sinkhole. So it is a giant sinkhole. Now, Ripley's here, got a sinkhole out front, so appropriate story for this. All right, so the story goes, they had a chief, Patano, and his daughter, Sakuri, and everyone wanted his daughter, Sakuri's hand. Patano was like, no, nobody's good enough for her. Well, one guy decided he was good enough. Now, the thing is, he was a fallen warrior. His name was Hiti, and he had become a demon. Gotta love that,
wow.
Right? And so he sneaks in, steals her at night from the tribe, and runs off with her. And then while he's running off, Patano wakes up, realizes what's happened. It's like, all the men, let's go. We gotta go get this thing. Hiti sees the men coming and is like, gotta do something about this. So he summons the great alligator, a demon alligator. And this thing is gigantous. It's as big as it can possibly be. And to the fact where many of his men die trying to spear this thing. They can't break its hide. They finally cut down an oak, turn it into a giant spear, and Patano himself leads the charge, and they bull rush it right down the throat, kill the giant demon alligator. So they're like, all right, now we can go catch up to Hiti. They get to him, and he sees them coming, and he creates the great pit that swallows his men. Then Hiti turns into a giant alligator himself, goes down into the pit and just swallowing the men as they come into the pit. He's just reveling. Sakuri, at this point, wakes out of her spell, and she grabs one of the atlatls, one of the spears, and stabs the demon, saves herself, saves the men that are left, destroys him. But they are devastated. The tribe is devastated. So her and her father's tears just flow, and they flow for days. And that's supposedly the water that still drains into the Devil's Millhopper. There's lots of waterfalls into this natural formation. Now, the story itself, we think they made it fit because at the bottom of Devil's Millhopper were all these dinosaur bones.
Okay.
Giant alligator skulls. That would make sense. There's this demon alligator down there, right? It was a giant dinosaur skull, so.
I mean, talk about epic. This is epic. This is a story that not only has giant monsters, but the woman comes in at the end of the day, saves the day.
Gotta love that.
That is great.
The princess rescues herself.
And just imagine a giant kaiju alligator at the bottom of a sinkhole. I love it.
It's the perfect Florida story. So sinkholes and alligators, you can't go wrong.
And there you have it, road trippers. The living dinosaurs of Orlando, Florida, played an important part in the folklore of the original people of the state. Now, you can see an alligator in pretty much any waterway in Florida, but you're gonna have to come here to check out those decorated crocodile skulls from Papua New Guinea and the fossilized alligator. But in the meantime, I need to check out all of the other oddities at Ripley's Orlando, the weirdest attraction in the city. Now, you are going to have to come to the Sunshine State to see it yourself and absorb all of these tropical treats. Okay, See you later, alligators. Okay, road trippers, where should we go next? What should we see? Drop a comment below and help us map out our next Ripley's road trip destination.